Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. This week is actually a very special week for me. I actually have two celebrities on the channel today. One of them, it would be Sean Shahar, and I'm not gonna get your last name right.
Shahar Algazy.
There we go.
My friends call me Sean.
Sean, awesome. So for those of you who don't know Sean, this guy's a bit of a celebrity down here in Southern California in the car scene. This guy is a car builder and he has done some phenomenal replications of Dom's RX-7 from the first Fast and Furious, Brian's Eclipse. You've done Suki's S2000 recently.
I've done the Heist Civic from the first movie, the black one. I've done the Tyrese's Eclipse Spider. The purple one.
Yep. So if you guys haven't followed this guy's Instagram channel yet, go there now. It's The Viper Guy.
The Vipers.
The Vipers, oh, it's plural, The Vipers Guy. And of course, I'll have links to that in the description down below so it's spelled correctly. But like I said, if you don't know this guy, get to know this guy. He's phenomenal down here in the car scene, very connected. The second celebrity we have is actually the car that got me into cars, the first generation Dodge Viper. I mean, this is just an absolute gorgeous car. It was like, I remember when I was a kid in high school on Saturday nights, I'd be up at 12 o'clock at night because that's when they aired the Viper TV show. I was so into the car.
I actually have the collector edition of it.
Do you really? Like the Defender?
I do, yeah.
That is awesome. So, like I said, this is very exciting for me. This is going to be a great week. So about you though, with the car, what was it that drew you to the Viper initially?
Wow. You know, everybody has their own dream car that they had like a huge poster above their bed growing up. That was mine. Some people it was the Lamborghini Countach, or Ferrari or something. For me, it was always the Viper. And then in the 90s, they came out with this show, the Viper, you know, that transformed to the Defender and all that.
Yeah.
Today, if you watch the show, it's like so stupid.
Is it? Oh, no.
But back then, if you're watching that car, it's like it's the American dream, you know? It's the first American supercar for me. It's like it's so crazy, you know? It's like everything, the way it designed, the engine, it's like Dodge back then went out and like, okay, so we can't put V8s anymore. Let's do a V10. V10, you know? So it's just, I don't know, it's like the definition of power, luxury, sports car.
I mean, yeah, it was built with a purpose. This is not for a faint of heart. Someone who's driving a Honda Civic is gonna not know what to do with this.
Yeah.
So now you said, I knew that Carroll Shelby was involved in designing this, but you said Lee Iacocca was also involved. Do you know a little bit about the story?
So back then, Lee Iacocca was working for Chrysler. He approached Shelby and he basically told him, hey, I wanna do a modern Cobra. And that's basically how the Viper idea was born, you know? And in a way, a lot of stuff, the Cobra and the Viper kind of shares a lot of stuff, you know, with the center console and like the powertrain. It's everything on this car was meant to go fast, you know? There's no roof, there's no door handles, there's no windows, there's no ABS, no traction control, no airbag, no nothing on it that doesn't meant to go fast.
Yep.
This specifically, they came out in 92.
Okay.
This specifically is a 94. So I think the only thing on it that I can say that wasn't here and meant to go fast was the AC on it. Mine specifically, you can see that it has an aftermarket hardtop.
Yes, I was noticing that.
And windows. Initially I bought it because I wanted to go to Willow Springs with the car. I wanted to experience the track, and they wouldn't allow me to go on track without a hardtop.
Really?
Or a roll cage, and I didn't want to mess up the interior and do a roll cage, you know?
Now, interesting about you, you actually came from Israel, and you said actually this car is part of the reason why you actually came here.
Yeah, don't tell my wife, but we actually moved countries because of this car.
Now, if that's not a car guy, I don't know what is.
My whole life, I've dreamed about this Viper. In Israel, they had a law that you cannot, first of all, they never had Vipers in the country. And they have a law that you cannot import cars that are older than 2 years old or 30 years old. So anyway, for me to have a 94 in Israel, I would have to wait till 2024.
Okay.
And this was 4 or 5 years ago when I started working on my papers with everything and the moving over here. I just told my wife, hey, let's just move, you know? It's like, I mean, let's do something new. And she was like, are we gonna move to the US for you to have a Viper? I'm like, no, we're gonna move to have a better life and for me to have a Viper.
I hope she doesn't watch my channel.
The minute I knew we had the flight ticket, I started talking to people selling Vipers. I started talking to people about Vipers. And the day I landed, it was a 16-hour flight.
Oof.
Me, my wife, a little Shih Tzu, 7 suitcases, going through paperwork at the airport. We went out of the airport. My buddy picked us up. We went to his house, and I'm like, "Hey, Rod, do you mind giving me a ride? It's like 2 hours away. I want to get a Viper." And he's like, "What?" And my wife is like, "Today? Seriously? Today? You're gonna go today to get a Viper?" And I'm like, do you have something better to do? I mean, we're here.
Now, it's amazing kind of looking at the cars. In my mind, I kind of saw the Viper as a little bit of a bigger car, but it looks like it's about the same size as the GTR, which was kind of a little bit surprising. Now, it's obviously way lower slung.
It looks like a little bit slower, a little bit
It's
lower,
definitely lower.
a little bit lower. They do look like same width and stuff. So.
Now, I know what you guys might be thinking on the channel, you know, comparing the GTR to the Viper, it seems like you're comparing apples and oranges. But as you know, on this channel, I'm comparing what's the drivability? What's it like from the driver's point of view? Because really, if you're comparing cars about what's faster on the track, it's just who has the faster car, and that's not fair. Now, so what we're gonna be looking at as pretty
Plus,
much—
you're talking about more than 20 years of technology.
Exactly.
Compared to a car that was born to be as raw as you can get.
Exactly, and so it's going to give a completely different feeling behind the wheel. As you know, I do daily drive mine. You actually did daily drive yours for a while.
I daily drove this for 8 months.
So we're going to talk about, you know, what it's like as far as like, you know, the engine, what's like to work on them, you know, maybe getting groceries, and what's the overall feel. So really, what's better? Is it really going to be better to have a car that's really run by like God knows how many computers that does how many calculations per second, or just the raw power of the Viper? So typically what would happen is, as you've seen in some of my previous videos, we would take turns driving each other's car. Now, you obviously are more protective of your car, and I will not fault you for that at all. So I will not be getting the
nobody
experience.
drives my car.
It's
nobody
fine.
drives my Viper.
I knew that going into this.
If I would bring the RX-7 or the
Yeah.
whatever, you can drive it for sure.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna rely on his testimony. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start where you're gonna go ahead and drive mine, since how you just finished driving yours. And we're gonna talk about the experience. You're gonna feel like, oh, this feels different from the Viper. This is, you know, oh, I like this, I don't like this. And then of course I'll drive back, and then we'll come back and I'll get to actually at least ride in my high school dream car. My high school me is probably so jealous right now. And there again, I'll talk about like, okay, you know, maybe what's the difference in visibility, even from the passenger seat, how does it feel? And, you know, we'll just kind of come up with an idea of like, you know, really what is a good driver's car. All right, so here we are in the GTR. You know how this all rolls.
What is that?
Yeah. So one of you—
I'm missing a pedal. Okay.
I get that. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they said the reason why they did it was because no human can shift fast enough to keep up with the car. So
Okay.
yeah, that's why they don't release a manual. Whether or not we believe that, that's open to debate.
Okay.
So yeah, let's go ahead and head out this way.
So this has
So you're gonna turn left at the light.
500 horsepower?
550. So
550.
it's pretty much stock. All it has is the Y pipe and a cat back. So
Okay.
it's not that much different than a stock car, which you said yours is stock. So I think it'll be a good comparison as far as that goes. So now, compared to your Viper, how's the visibility? Like, you get better visibility out of here, out of the Viper?
There's great visibility in the GTR. The Viper, I feel like you would see it because the Viper windshield curves, so the windshield would be like up to here.
Oh, really?
Which is crazy. So it has such great visibility.
Oh, because when you take a look at the RT10 particularly, it's got that removable top that has like the roll bar in the back. I think it kind of block your visibility a little bit.
No, I mean the sitting position is like,
oh, that'll be interesting.
Amazing. There's great visibility over here. I mean, the car feels like a brand new car again. It's like You know, you get
If you turn to the left at the light, there might be a nice stretch of straight road where we can have some fun.
you get like everything over here. The seats are nice. You know, we got the AC on, bunch of electronics. Kind of good head space.
I have it down as low as it can go. It doesn't go
Is
lower
it?
than that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it can go higher. So
I mean, I imagine with the helmet, I would be struggling here.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's funny that the Viper has a little bit. The Viper is a little bit more roomy.
really,
The center
Oh, okay.
console is like double than that, and there's like nothing here. So,
okay.
but the way this is designed with the back seat and the whole family can drive it, can ride it. It's awesome. I mean, it's a GTR.
It's a GTR.
It's awesome. It's like there's nothing bad that you can say about a GTR. And this is all-wheel drive, so
Correct. And the
launch control in this thing compared to a rear-wheel drive would be.
not 100% because it's actually a rear-wheel drive car. But when it senses slippage from the rear tires, it can transfer up to 50% of the power to the front.
Wow.
So you are going to get a little squirrely on the back end
Okay.
on takeoff.
That sounds like
So
fun.
don't be surprised when that happens. So put your left foot on the brake.
Okay.
Use your right foot to floor it. And when you're ready to go, take your foot off the brake.
Nice. That thing launches.
I still get a little dizzy from that on launch control.
No, that thing launched.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, the steering wheel feels very precise.
Uh-huh.
Kind of feels like the car has some
Little understeer.
little understeer.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Now, how does the suspension feel kind of compared to, like, you know, the Viper as far as how it feels planted?
Given that the Viper is a little bit lower, a little bit wider, and the tires are like it has like 335s in the back, it feels like the Viper is more. I don't know. The Viper would not. I never had an understeer in the Viper.
Okay.
You know, always.
So this kind of plows through the corners where the Viper kind of...
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But it feels like it has enough power to where you wanted it to be. You know, it's like you aim for somewhere and it just goes there. You know, it's like a motorcycle. It's like wherever you're gonna look, the car is gonna go there.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like
Especially if you start to get into trouble, that all-wheel drive will transfer the power to the front
exactly.
and pull you through.
See?
Yeah.
But again, power-wise, and you know, it handles great. I mean, it feels quieter inside. So even though you're going faster, you feel like you're slower. You know what I mean?
And I realized that too. That was kind of weird. So like, I've also ridden motorcycles, and the thing with the motorcycle is weird because like you'll be doing like 80, like what am I doing, 30, 40, like kind of like, oh, I'm doing 80.
Yeah.
This car kind of had the same effect. Like you don't get the sensation
Correct.
of speed out of it.
Correct. The Viper, you're on like 30 miles per hour and feels like 100. You know, it's like
That's awesome.
Everything is open and all that. It's
Yeah.
it's like
So if you pull into here, we'll switch drivers, head back, and then we'll get the Viper.
Oh, rear camera view. What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Technology? What?
Technology. Too much technology. I think honestly, the main thing with this car is compared to, for example, a Viper or, you know, like a weekend car. I think this is the perfect combination of both worlds, you know? So this is like the perfect car to daily drive, to go with your family. You have like the back seat, You can get on it when you want to.
Yep.
It's like you wanna. It's like whatever mood you're in. It's
It
like
adapts.
you wanna cruise it. You wanna haul ass. You want whatever you wanna do. It's like that's the car. You know. It's like it's everything. It's like the perfect. It has a perfect balance between everything. Where the Viper, it's only a 2-seater.
Yep.
Very small trunk. It's very raw, so you know what? Even when I want to go with my wife, I'm scared to drive a little bit faster.
Oh, really?
You know, because with this car, even though it gave us a little bit of an understeer, and you feel safe with it. You know what I mean? It gives you like a safe feeling.
Yeah, you know that the computers, if you get yourself into too much trouble, are going to take over and save you. Whereas with the Viper, you mess up, it's all on you.
There's nothing there, you know. Nothing to save you. It's only you and how much you can control this. It's literally taking, you know, a horse and just trying to, hey, you know, that's what I want you to go there, not there. You know, it's like it's not what I meant. So.
Another thing too, one thing that the GTR is kind of nice, or the Viper's just got these different modes. So I can put it in R mode when I want to be more aggressive. I can put it in normal mode when I want to save gas, suspension, stiff, or comfort mode. Where the Viper, you just have like the one mode, and
You
that's
just have
it.
one mode, no modes.
Yeah, one mode, scary stupid mode, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'll go for a ride in the American legend car, the Dodge Viper.
Let's do it.
So yeah, it's interesting what you were talking about, where because the window curves around. That's
See
interesting.
that? It's crazy.
Oh, I love this. Like you can feel the cam, like the car. You can like back when I had my '69 Camaro, it was the same thing. Like you can feel the engine rock in the car.
And the windshield curves like that, so you can see anything. You can see everything. You know. And most of the time, you wouldn't have. This is an aftermarket top and windows, so most of the time you wouldn't have this piece and that at all. So the visibility is like you only have this little.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then it looks like even changing lanes, because this window goes back so far. You have pretty good. That's surprising.
Correct.
I thought it was going to have a lot, like changing lanes. I thought it was going to have like bad visibility, but that is amazing.
Yeah. But the aftermarket top, I have a little bit more room, even more than the GTR.
Yeah.
I can fit a helmet over here. I have the double bubble.
Yeah.
And thanks to these aftermarket top and windows, I can finally lock the car.
Yeah.
Because any other way you cannot lock the car. It's just you can't. You know. Got the AC on.
It's like.
And you know, it's like, it's funny because. You know, when you have your AC on in any car, and it's like you can never have it facing directly to you.
Yeah.
You know, this is the only car that you have the AC going to your balls.
I was gonna say, I felt that. I'm like, what's?
It's like the perfect. You know, you're sweating everywhere. You have cooling everywhere coming.
So in other words, this car is supposed to scare you so much that you need to chill your nuts.
Exactly.
Or if you got a girl in here and it rumbles, it's their own dryer.
There you go.
So when I first sat in the car, the first thing I noticed was the smell. And I know that sounds weird, but my first car was a '69 Camaro, and classic American muscle cars, they have a smell. And this car has it. Like it has that old, like, you know, little bit of exhaust, a little bit of rich gasoline smell to it. It's just like this feels, it's low. Like it's amazing how low this car feels. Like it feels like my RX-7. Like I don't even think like Supra felt like it sat this low.
Did you notice how wide the center console is?
Yeah, this is not, like, it's like the size of my forearm.
It's like.
And you're right, because of that, it gives you, and then there's like this little indentation in the door, so you don't feel like you're cramped right here. So
correct.
You can just
you're going like. It's designed to have your like sitting perfectly.
Yeah, this is a comfy
car.
car.
Has some rattling to it,
but it's an aftermarket, so we will forgive it. So the suspension feels very similar to the GTR, at least as far as from the passenger seat feel.
So let me show you a launch control in a Viper.
Alrighty.
It's okay, there's no launch control. How's that for a
That is nuts.
Now let me run away because the whole street is smoky.
Yes, it is.
That wasn't me, officer.
No.
I have no idea. So how's that for a launch control?
I have never experienced that before. Like, I was ready for you to go and the car's not moving. Like, wait, what's going on? And I see the smoke just filtering through the car. Oh my God, that is nuts. And you did it like effortlessly.
It's a Viper.
Yeah. The car's like, you don't want your tires? We don't want the tires. Which was...
I didn't do anything, I swear.
Yeah. You know what the thing is with the Viper, I think it is you really have to be a car person to appreciate what it is. Like, you put this in the hands of somebody who maybe has seen the Fast and Furious a couple times and is, you know, they know what like certain cars are. You put them behind the wheel of this car, they're not going to understand what it is. Like, this is a true car for a true car person. Like, I've always said, I can give my GTR to a 16-year-old girl who just got her driver's license today, and she's going to be able to drive it without an issue. You know, she is going to take care of her. This car is a driver's car specifically.
So you can feel how precise
Actually, that is amazing. I'm a little shocked. My GTR did when I was in the passenger seat. Now, I don't know if it's just because you know the car better and so you're able to control it better, but that actually felt more planted than the GTR did.
That's what I was saying, that it feels like the Viper is a little bit more planted, maybe because it's lower, it's wider, and the tires are like 335 in the back.
Okay.
So it gives you
because I'm still on stock.
It tries to get the the back a little bit breaking the traction, but other than that, it doesn't understeer.
No, and it didn't
it's
seem
like, it's not the steering wheel is,
I'm a little surprised by that. I honestly thought it was going to feel a little more tail happy, but it seemed like if you wanted to slide it, you would have had to consciously broken the rear traction on the rear tires.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so you've now driven both. Through the steering wheel, what's like the difference you feel like between the GTR, how you feel the driving experience through the wheel versus the Viper?
I don't know how to explain. I feel like the Viper, I'm doing this, it turns. You know? It's like you point and it's like, it's there. The GTR, it's like it's also there, but it's like a turbo leg, it's like a steering leg. I don't know how to explain it. It's like
probably because of the computers are trying to figure out what it is you're doing as you're driving the GTR. So there's that split-second delay where the computer's trying to compute what's going on.
Yeah.
Where this thing is just like, you're
for some reason I feel like more connected to the road.
Okay.
In the Viper compared to the GTR, but it's also because, like we said, this car is not insulated as much as the GTR. The GTR has more technology, more everything, more more bedding, whatever. The Viper being so raw feels like it's like every little thing. I just feel it. I know where I'm at. You know. Even with the gears, even if I if I miss third, you know. But you really feel.
And the amazing thing is
it's doing exactly what you wanted to do.
And you
until
can't,
the point you lose it, and then it doesn't do whatever you want.
And then it gets scary. And the amazing thing is, like I said, so you can't really blame it on the shocks and springs, because riding in it, it feels like the stiffness of the suspension is comparable. So it's not like, you know, the GTR's got this super soft suspension. It's not like the Viper's got this super stiff. They feel like they're about the same.
Yeah.
So it really
it's a comfortable car. If you just want to cruise, it's a comfortable car.
Take the top off, go down PCH.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's the fun factor, you know?
Yeah.
So I did daily drove it. I did went to get groceries with it. I did went with my wife to the outlets, and we had shopping center, and we had fun with it. And, you know, we drove for hours with it. We went to weekends in San Diego, Willow Springs, and all that. I did all that, you know? Yes, it doesn't have the back seat. So now that we have a baby, it's a little bit of a problem.
You just strap it to the rear roll bar, it'll be fine.
Oh God, no. And the trunk is fairly small.
Oh, it is? Okay, because it looks like from out there, it looks like it'd be a pretty good sized trunk.
I mean, I fit everything I could in there, but it's not comparable to the GTR.
It's
probably
massive
like
trunk,
a massive trunk, you know?
Now, also because you've driven both, how is the throttle response? Like when you put your foot down on the GTR versus when you put your foot down in the Viper, which is there one that feels a little more responsive?
I feel like both is really responsive. Make a right over here?
Yeah.
Or the next?
Yeah.
Obviously the GTR with the launch control, and then it's like from over there, it's like you're hitting high RPM and you have everything you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The turbos are pretty spooled, and
the turbos work great on it. You have power everywhere. I think over here the throttle response is a little feels a little bit different because you got more torque.
okay.
You know.
That, and I'm
It's
sure
it's like, you know, it's on point.
it's right there. All right, so there we go. We've now driven a ride in both the GTR and the Viper. Now, you were the one that got the experience, so let's start off real easy. If you were gonna have one of these as a daily driver, one of these as a weekend warrior, and one of these as a track car, which one would you pick and why?
Well, as a daily driver, I would totally pick the GTR. As a weekend warrior, I would totally pick the Viper. As a track car, I would probably pick the GTR also.
Oh, okay.
Only because specifically with my Viper, I don't wanna get it all messed up.
Taking that off the table then. Taking that off the table. Like if you could go down and find one of these as common as like an Evo then.
If this wasn't a car that was handmade and not made so many of them, it was out there that you can just buy another one. Then yeah, I would probably pick the Viper because
as a track car.
it's more fun. It's just you know, it's the GTR. It feels like it would do whatever you want it to do. So it's kind of like you know, when we were younger and we would play like video games.
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
always that one guy that has all the cheats. You know, it's like almost cheating in a way, because it's like you can save enough money to buy a GTR, and if you're like a competitive guy and you know the guy that's all about the numbers and lap times and all that kind of stuff, the GTR is perfect for you.
Okay.
But for me, if you want to go to the track and have fun, you know, break the traction, just, you know, power slides, drift it a little bit, you know, be sideways, I feel more stress, you know, in the car. So I took the Viper to Willow Springs. I feel like I was all sweaty. I knew I almost died like 5 times a lap, you know. As for if I would take the GTR, I feel like I would probably beat everybody because I could have the option to go faster and do more and, you know, expand my limits a little bit more.
Because, you know, if you get too close to that limit, the computer in the car is going to dial you back to where you're supposed to be.
Because it's all there, you know, but fun factor, you know, the smells, the smoke, the rush, you know, it's like, oh my God, you know, it's if that was a car that I could feel safe enough to go to the track, and if I lose it, I can just get another one the next day and they're available, I would probably daily this and have this as a warrior driver and a track car.
So yeah, because that's kind of interesting, because for me, like, I definitely agree as a daily driver, this has got all the amenities, it's got all the electronics, it's got all the toys.
Because don't get me wrong, I did daily drive this for 8 months straight. But driving the GTR, you know, it's a little bit more comfortable. The seats are a little bit different, even though you saw that those seats are fairly nice. It has the back seats, which is almost everything. It has cup holders.
You haven't seen some of my previous videos when I first got this car. That's the first thing they're like, holy, because I just got rid of my Supra, and I'm like, this has cup holders. Oh my God, I haven't had cup holders since like 2002.
There's no way anybody getting into my car with drinks or food. There's no such thing.
Now, what was really interesting about the Viper is I was not expecting. So I was expecting, like I said, you know, I've had a '69 Camaro, I've had a 2010 Camaro, I've been in Mustangs, I've been in Chargers, I've been in Challengers. I kind of expected, because it's an American car, I expected it to feel like that. And this car does not feel like your typical American car at all. To me, I was feeling more like if I'd taken the engine out of my '69 Camaro and dropped it into my FD RX-7, that's what this feels like. It's very, very interesting, because I was not expecting that. I expected, like I said, raw power, straight line, pray to God you survive any corner that comes at you. And this isn't it. Like, it took corners like as well as like this car. In fact, I think it might have even taken it a little bit better than this car, it almost felt like. And like, it handled the corners. It looking out the front windshield, it kind of felt like the RX-7, because it has that long hood that bubbles up. And I was really, I mean, whatever design they put in it, I don't know, like, if they kind of borrowed a little bit from some of what the Japanese were doing at the time, because, you know, the 90s when the Supra and the RX-7 were running. But it literally feels like a JDM car with an American power plant. And I was not expecting that at all.
It doesn't feel like a JDM car. It feels like you don't know the capabilities of Americans and what they can do. Because they can. Because this car is mainly based off the, like I said, the 60s AC Cobra, the Shelby Cobra. And I feel like a lot of people feel that JDM would be more, you know, superior as far as corners, drifting, all that kind of stuff. But when the first gen Viper came out, it just destroyed everything. Any JDM out there.
Okay, either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got to see a comparison between, you know, the JDM muscle and, let's be honest, the true definition of American muscle right there. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button to let me know. It does help the channel out a lot. If you'd like to see more automotive, particularly GTR content in the future, go and subscribe to my channel. You can now follow me on all forms of social media, which include Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And I'll leave links to those in the description down below. Now, you have, like I said, he's got an amazing Instagram. If you don't follow him, please do. What is the Vipers, plural, guy?
The Vipers guy, yeah.
And you said
my Instagram is the Vipers guy. My TikTok is the Vipers guy. I have my own YouTube channel. It's my full name, Shahar Sean Algazy.
Okay.
I'm trying to work on it a little bit, but my main focus right now is on my Instagram. Okay. I just opened that 2 years ago, and I'm trying to. I just don't have enough time to go full scale on everything.
And that's completely understandable. And I will try and leave links to those in all the descriptions down below. Do yourself a favor, if you're an automotive fan at all, follow this guy. Like I said, he's a bit of a celebrity even down here in SoCal, so if you go to some of these car meets, walk up and talk to this guy. He's freaking great. He's got all this great knowledge. He's built some great cars. He does all the work himself, which I really appreciate. I have a little bit less respect for people like, I bought this car, I dropped it off at a shop, and now it's got 850 horsepower. I'm like, well, what did you do? You actually turned the wrench, you installed the body kit, so much respect there.
Thank you.
If you'd like to support the channel, as you all know, I have opened up the JD Archer shop. If you'd like to go to jdarcher.bigcartel.com, you can see a limited selection of hats, t-shirts, and hoodies I've designed. There's more designs on the way. If you have any questions or you have any comments about the Viper or the GTR, go ahead and post in the comment section down below. I will respond to you. I thank you all for watching, and until next time, forget everything else focus on the finish line.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.